It started with a sound I'd never heard before, metal grinding against concrete. Then a sharp shriek that sliced through the quiet of a Sunday morning. By the time I stepped outside, my stomach had already dropped. There she was, Karen, my neighbor, and self-appointed queen of the HOA, standing in my driveway with a crowbar clenched in her hands. And dangling beside her like a broken limb was my Tesla wall charger wires, torn-out sparks still hissing against the stucco of my garage. I froze. For a second, I thought maybe I was hallucinating. Who does this? Who wakes up, grabs a crowbar, and decides to rip a live charger out of someone else's wall? Karen, apparently. She wasn't even sneaky about it. She was dragging the thing across the concrete, leaving a black scar on the driveway like she was repossessing something that never belonged to her. When she finally noticed me, she had the audacity to look offended. "You can't hog all the electricity in this neighborhood," she snapped. "The HOA bylaws say we all have equal rights to shared resources." Shared resources. I blinked, too stunned to even yell. This was my charger on my wall connected to my breaker box. I'd paid nearly $2,000 to have it installed, and now in Karen's universe it was suddenly community property. I leaned on the doorframe, trying to hold back the rage bubbling in my chest. "Karen," I said, calm as I could manage, "that's not a lamp you're unplugging. You're stealing a live circuit. You could kill yourself." She waved me off like I was the crazy one. "Don't gaslight me. My son has a Prius he deserves access to. Her son didn't even live here. He visited maybe twice a year, yet somehow he was now the martyr in her holy war." I pulled out my phone. Not to call the cops yet. No, I wanted video. Because this wasn't just neighborhood drama anymore. This was evidence. And evidence has a way of sinking people deeper than any screaming match ever could. Karen must have sensed I had her on camera because instead of stopping, she doubled down. Yanked again until the mounting plate ripped clean off the wall, leaving a jagged hole in my stucco. Then she tried to drag the whole charger toward her lawn sparks fizzing from the cord like it was some kind of prize she'd won in battle. I couldn't help myself. "You're really gonna faint when you see the repair bill," I said lightly. Tesla doesn't exactly have a discount menu for this kind of destruction. Her face flushed red, but she didn't back down. She plopped the charger onto her lawn, crossed her arms, and said, "Good. Let Tesla send me the bill. I'll forward it to the HOA. They'll cover it." That was the moment I realized I didn't need to yell, didn't need to threaten. All I had to do was keep the camera rolling and let her bury herself. The next day, the HOA group chat lit up. Karen had posted, "Urgent neighbor's EV charger unsafe fire hazard must be removed, cost shared for safety." She was spinning it, trying to make herself the hero. I replied with a single photo, her gnome sitting next to my charger, like yard art. Caption: "Thanks for the landscaping upgrade, Karen." The reactions came in fast question marks, laughing emojis, and finally the question that cracked her facade. "Wait, did you move his charger?" Karen didn't answer. She just left the group. I filed a police report that afternoon. Not because I thought she'd be cuffed. Petty vandalism rarely goes that far, but because a case number turns into insurance claims and insurance claims turn into letters that scare people like Karen. Tesla sent a technician out. The guy whistled low when he saw the mess. "This isn't malfunction," he said. "This is deliberate removal. Company policy is clear, we document and we bill the responsible party if identified." He grinned at me. "And she's clearly identified." The estimate printed out $4,872.36. I wanted to frame it. 2 days later, I got my reward. Karen came storming across the street, Tesla, envelope in hand, face red as a stop sign. She slapped the bill against my chest and shrieked, "You set me up. You colluded with that company to frame me." I read it out loud, savoring every word. "Per video evidence and property damage assessment, you are responsible for the removal of Tesla wall charger serial number 29X. Balance due $4,872.36. I handed it back with a smile. "Frame you, Karen. You framed yourself. My phone camera has better resolution than your alibi." Her eyes flickered, her voice cracked, and then she fainted. Just buckled right there, knees hitting the grass like gravity had suddenly multiplied. But if you think that was the end, you don't know Karen. She regrouped. Flyers appeared on doorsteps. Stop electric privilege. Demand equal charging rights. She tried to paint herself as the Rosa Parks of EV charging. Some older neighbors grumbled in agreement, but most laughed it off. Still, I won't lie. There was a moment, a dark one, where I wondered if maybe she'd win. Maybe I was the selfish neighbor hoarding power. Maybe I should just give up, rip the charger out, and save myself the stress. I lay awake some nights staring at the ceiling, wondering if it was worth it. But then Tesla called. They'd seen the footage, thanked me for cooperating, and offered me a complimentary upgrade, their newest Gen 3 wall charger installed free. That was my turning point. Not only was Karen about to choke on a $5,000 bill, but I was getting an even better charger delivered on a silver platter. 3 days later, the van pulled up. 2 techs stepped out, rolled open the doors, and revealed a sleek, white charger gleaming like a trophy. As they installed it, neighbors slowed their walks, rubbernecking. Karen's blinds snapped open. She stormed out, HOA rulebook under her arm, and barked, "This installation violates neighborhood guidelines. You can't proceed without board approval." The younger tech didn't even look up. "Ma'am, this is a direct replacement under federal EV guidelines. We don't need your HOA's permission." Karen sputtered, "That's not true." The older tech pulled out a laminated sheet. "Want me to show you the statute number?" Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. No sound. She turned on her heel and stormed back inside, muttering, "You'll all regret this." That night I found out what she meant. At 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. Wall connector disturbance detected. I crept to the garage, and there she was, Karen, in pajamas, flashlight between her teeth, gardening shears clamped around the cable. Sparks spat as she tried to cut through live wires. I leaned against the doorframe. "Karen, that's 240 volts. You'll fry faster than a toaster strudel." She hissed at me like a feral cat, then snipped again. Sparks singed her sleeve, and she screamed, tossing the shears and bolting into the night, flapping her arms like she was on fire. By morning, the HOA group chat was ablaze. "Did anyone else hear Karen screaming last night? Sounded like a banshee." I posted a photo of the burned sleeve. Caption: Karen tried to garden my charger. Results: crispy. The laughing emojis poured in. But the laughter dried up when Tesla forwarded her unpaid invoice to collections. Now the balance grew with fees. Over $5,300. When she saw the letter, she marched to my door, voice trembling. "I can't afford this. They'll ruin my credit. I'll lose everything." For the first time, I saw fear instead of arrogance. But fear isn't the same as remorse. I told her flatly, "Then maybe stop ripping out things that don't belong to you." At the next HOA meeting, she tried one last move, proposed using community funds to pay her bill. The vote was 8-0 against her. Even the quiet old man who usually only complained about squirrels spoke up. "Karen, are you admitting you ripped out his charger?" She stammered about safety inspections. I called from the back with a crowbar. The room erupted in laughter. Tesla's legal team reached out soon after. They wanted my video for court. I said I'd bring popcorn if allowed. The day of the hearing, Karen strutted in wearing a blazer with the store tag still dangling. She clutched a binder of flyers and petitions like paper could outweigh video. The judge wasn't impressed. The lawyer pressed play, and there she was in all her glory, ripping my charger out of the wall, sparks flying. Karen stammered, "That video is out of context." The judge raised an eyebrow. How much context is required to explain you tearing your neighbor's charger out of his wall? Her speeches about community rights and corporate tyranny didn't last long. The ruling was swift full payment owed plus court fees, nearly $6,000. The gavel cracked and Karen slumped into her chair like the air had been sucked out of her. She lost. Back home, life slid back into rhythm. My charger hummed quietly. Neighbors walked lighter, freer, as though the storm had finally broken. Karen's house went up for sale within weeks, her empire of flyers and tantrums collapsing into a motivated seller sign planted in the yard. The moving truck came box after box hauled out under her bitter glare. I stood on my porch, coffee in hand, and whispered to myself, "Charge complete." And the lesson entitlement is expensive.